Hello and welcome to the first panel of CIF 50. That's 50 years of Cleveland film, which is amazing. I am Sydney Walts. I am a writer, director, and a lecturer here at Cleveland State's Film and Media Arts Department. I want to welcome everyone to this first panel that will deal with the craft of filmmaking, creative decisions, and collaboration. I want to welcome our panelists here today. We have Adam White, who is the director of the film photography. We have Josie Wilka, who is the star of Lucas and Claire. We have Mariales Diaz, who is the writer and director of Today and Tomorrow. And we have Pizon, who is the cinematographer for Stonebirds. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. So I want to start off with some kind of broad questions, and then as we go, I will get more specific to your roles. So I want to know a little bit about why film? Why did you decide to pursue a career in film or theater? Where did it all start? I'll start with Adam.
Mostly revenge. No. Film, I started in high school with a great interest in photography. I know that's the name of the film. But I started with an interest in that, and people who knew people said, you're growing up in the Midwest. Film is light years from something your guidance counselors tell you to be a part of. But then you find out that there are avenues, even in those olden days that I attended, and you find out that there are film schools within the Midwest that you don't automatically have to go to Los Angeles or New York. And then the farther you know, the farther you know. And go, oh, I can actually freelance in this industry and become a movie maker, which does not occur to you until you start getting a little taste of it, and then you see your first set and you say, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure.
Josie?
Acting for me has always just been about storytelling and giving a voice to the people that don't have a voice, and Lucas and Claire is a perfect example of a point of view that isn't always represented. So using film as an avenue to give those people a voice is just what I love to do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, I think similar to Adam, right?
Yes.
I started in high school, very interested in photography. I thought I would do like Nike campaigns. That's kind of what I thought I was interested in. But I really love that film can you can be a writer, you can have moving images, like it's just a very three-dimensional way to tell a story that I felt photography just kind of felt a bit limiting after a while. And I felt like I had a lot to say, and it was time to choose, like, where would I go to college? What am I gonna do? I'm in New York, so it felt like a good pathway, like a career pathway, and it just kind of came to me though, because it was like we were doing it through art class, and I had done like a summer program in New York, and I feel like it chose me before I chose it. Like it was just in my life, and it's kind of all I had set myself up to do, so yeah.
Thank you. And Anna?
For me, film started at a very early age. My parents were always recording me and my sisters, like doing silly things around the house or just like singing or playing the piano, whatever. And so I've just always been involved in the arts. And I knew when my sisters were going to like school for like engineering and like science degrees and all that stuff, I told my mom, I was like, I feel really silly, but I think I want to go to film school. And like I would just research every night, because my mom, she was a guidance counselor, so all she did was do people's schedules and plan people's college careers and all this stuff. And so from an early age, we were kind of figuring out where I wanted to go. And she was like, we looked at a lot of programs, and she's like, I think Cleveland State would be good because you can actually work with technology, and that's what I would love to do. Like I remember when I got my first camera at Christmas, and I would go sledding and try to like film myself like sledding down like mini hills, and And I came in as a director-actor because I was also in theater, and I was like, I like writing and I like acting, but eventually I realized that I enjoy being behind the camera so much more, and I'm still able to help create a story, but more in like the visual aspect of it, and help, I don't know, I just like the collaboration side of it a lot more. So yeah, I think, yeah, that's where it started for me, but yeah.
Great. And that leads me into my next question, so thank you. Many of you mentioned that you kind of started off with photography or writing, which we kind of view as more solitary kind of careers, and then you discovered the collaborative aspect of filmmaking. What do you look for in a collaborator? Adam?
Do you mean the people who are working for you or who you're working for? I suppose both ways. When I'm starting a project, a lot of the time, most of my career, I'm a director of photography. So I am trying to enable a director's vision. So part of the conversation, very quickly, trying to learn how they work and on down. And when I usually are speaking to a director, and I'll say this kind of to the crew as well, like I'm always interested in somebody trying to sell me something. For lighting something, and the grips are like, I want the grips to come up. It's like, hey, how about we bring some, some negative up there and try to make it a little darker. I always want somebody to sell me on the ideas, but I also want them to understand when I, in the heat of battle, go, I appreciate it, we can't do that, and then have to move on, because I know the 700 reasons why we can't do that, and I appreciate a crew that knows, well, I sold and not take it personally. And I like that the same way when I'm working with a director or a producer, where I'd say, why don't we make this a medium shot as opposed, and then we can dump to the close-up, and if they say no, that is not the hill I am dying on. So I want to have lots of ideas, but I also want everybody to be chill enough that they understand we can't do everything.
Thank you. Josie?
I value creativity a lot in collaborators. I like people who are willing to push boundaries and be willing to do something that might not be traditional in order to get something special, and just take risks. I think it creates such like a welcoming and inclusive environment when everybody is just a team that is willing to work together to make something great. And I think that attitude and being surrounded by kindness and like welcomeness is just the perfect environment.
Yeah, I think something that people don't think about with film is that it's very intimate, and you are sort of not trapped, but you are with people for a long period of time. And if you're a director, you're with your producer for sometimes years at a time, depending what you're doing and how much money you have to raise, or if you're making a short, if you're making a feature. And if you're with your crew and you're shooting for 5 days, you're with them for 5 days. And I think something I've really learned to value is like not just like great communication, and also a lot of respect and kindness, like you were saying. I think it's like really important. I think the industry that we're in, sometimes getting the film done, getting that shot up, it seems way more important than the way we treat one another. But I think especially I think the generation I'm growing up in, I think the things I really care about, are we aligned? Do we see queer people as human beings? Do we see people of color as human beings? I can't be in disagreement with you about that. A lot of political alignment, but also someone that believes in me, someone that believes in what we're doing, that because times will get tough and then times will be good too. But just that you believe in this project that we're trying to do, that you believe in the amount, but you have to believe in it because it takes such, oh my God, it's so rigorous. It's so much work. It takes a lot of discipline, and I can't have us waver. So those are things that feel important to me in this moment.
I was going to say similar. I was thinking the whole time, I was like, I just want to work with someone that believes in me. That's what I was saying in my head. I was like, but I think the biggest thing for me is just trust. And over time, you just work with so many people, and it's like the you hopefully can get to a spot where you can choose who you get to work with, but it's like that's not always the case. And so, you know, if you don't necessarily would get along with someone off of a set, like you kind of just like have to get through the moment. So it's like you make everyone stay and make everyone feel safe and happy, and like I don't. That's my biggest concern as well, is just always making sure everyone feels safe and cared for, and because it can get heated because people want the shot to look good, want the movie to look good. Like everyone just has different goals that day, because there's different aspects of the film that people are passionate about. But I think for me, it's always just like, I just care about the people and I just like creating with people. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna now get into more specific questions regards to each of your films and each of your careers. So Adam, what drew you to make this film? You were also a co-writer on it, so
Yes.
you know, from idea to execution, why did you want to make this film?
I made this film through Cuyahoga Community College's Workforce Development Program. And Tri-C has done this for a number of years, for 7-8 years, of having this workshop to produce people who could walk onto a set. So at the end of that, they have a 3-day film shoot that the instructors, who are all professionals in the film industry, are the department heads, and then the students fill out the rest of the crew. So they have very set parameters when it comes to the film that is going to be written. You get to shoot it for 3 days. There is no 4th day. And you have to have only this many sets and so on. So I kind of crafted a film, a screenplay around those parameters. And also, even if it's a short or, as mentioned, you're doing this for years if it's a feature. So do something you like and something that you have some knowledge about. From way back, I have a deep knowledge of photography, just the technical aspects. So I was interested in sort of creating a character about that. And recently, I had done, both my wife and I had learned and read about Margaret Book White, a famous Cleveland photographer, and then moved on to New York. So I thought doing a story about a woman like that becoming, she had the first cover on Life magazine. And within that time frame of straddling World War II and then into the 50s and the 60s, such an interesting time for a woman to be a professional in New York, in the arts like that at the highest level. So I thought it'd be a great sort of story to be able to do that, and to talk about mentoring at the same time, which I am at the age of determining, when and where and how to do mentoring to people. So I wanted to combine that all into one film.
Thank you. Josie, so what drew you to the role in Lucas and Claire?
Well, for those of you that are unfamiliar, Lucas and Claire is performed primarily in American Sign Language, and I am an American Sign Language minor here at Cleveland State. And when I took my first ASL class my freshman year, I just fell in love with the language. It's so expressive, and I didn't just fall in love with the language, it was the whole community and the culture, and I was just immediately so drawn to it, and that's why I got the minor. But when I heard that Elliot was looking for an actress who knew sign language and who could tell this story, like to circle back earlier, it's about the voice that I can, portray, and respect. I was just so excited. This opportunity to be able to give a voice to a character that a lot of people don't get to see represented,
And how was it incorporating sign language into your performance?
It was amazing. It's the only other language that I know, and since I'm so passionate about it, and I'm expressive just like naturally, and since that language is so expressive, it was such an interesting like input into the process, because it wasn't just through English, which is like obviously my primary language. It was through just communicating with just my body language and everything. It was just such a wonderful experience.
Yeah, thank you. And Mariales, what drew you to tell this story? Because you are also the writer and director of your film.
I wanted to make a film in my neighborhood. Like, I wanted to make a film in Brooklyn. I wanted to make it in my parents' house. I felt like New York is always changing, but I think especially in this moment, it feels like as a native, like a native New Yorker, that there's so much of it that's, I feel like, is slipping away. And I wanted to make a coming of age story with two queer, like teenagers, and I wanted them to be like discovering that they were trans. And it was really exciting, and I also like wanted to try out this like campaigning for money. Like, I wanted to do a Kickstarter. I've never done that before, and I thought this would be like a good project to do it for. Kickstarter's in New York, and just sort of trying to organize this, like my neighborhood, my city for this moment. But yeah, and I hadn't made a film. I was like working on other people's films, and I hadn't made a film in like 2 years or so. So started writing it. It took a long time to get it from script to picture. Did a few fellowships with the script, and just to sort of get like input, like with it's good, like, you know, what needs to change. But yeah, I think it was just like something I felt. It was like I really wanted to incorporate my neighborhood, and then I just had to write a story in it. So it's really like very autobiographical in a way, because it's like the streets I walked when I was a teenager, and like kind of similar conversations that I would have as a teenager, but like with how would kids today have it. And I also wanted that to be a challenge, because I feel like sometimes like when older generations are writing about the kids like right now, it just feels so like there's a separation, like we don't really know how they talk, and the way Gen Z talks is just so quick, it changes all the time. So that was also a fun challenge, like just figuring out dialogue for like children that are existing now. I feel like their media is very limited, and I'm hopeful that like some kid online is like switching it up that's like would love it. Actually, like one of the actors was like in this Netflix show that has a bit of like a lesbian cult following, and they found it on Twitter, and they were like, "Oh my God, where can we watch it?" Yeah. And they were talking about Cleveland, like, "Oh, for right now, it's only playing at Cleveland," and they're like not in the U.S. So that was really fun, because it was like, I feel like queer communities, it's really like. Not so much right now, but for so long, the media has just been so limited, and distribution is limited. So it's also accessibility to the form is really hard to get. So that was really exciting, because I was like, okay, this goal that I had is actually coming true in some way, and they're super hype. So that was fun, but yeah.
Still with you, Mariales. So the performances in your film are so natural. I was really wondering, how did you get that chemistry to come off as, you know, almost like a documentary?
Yeah, I'm a really big like Italian neorealism fan. I'm really into like non-actors being actors. These are like very trained, serious actors. But I kind of like to throw away this like, not so much the training, but I like for it to really feel as natural as possible. And if it were up to me, like I really would only cast non-actors. I think it's like really fun. But this kind of was a little bit high stakes, so my producers wanted to cast like some serious actors. But it's just a lot of conversations. I think a lot of like discussing what's important to me, what's important to them, like trying to. It was kind of easier also because these characters, they had a lot in common with the characters. So I just wanted it to be kind of this ode to a younger version of themselves. And so it was a lot of conversations. Like, I'm very, I don't know, I treat filmmaking, I think, like as a director differently than I feel like other directors that I know. Like, it wasn't a lot of rehearsals. I just feel like it just becomes really performative in that way. And it was a lot of conversations on set, like, okay, we're gonna go for it. I wanna film it as you're going for it. I want us to create these like shapes together. And we had an intimacy coordinator because there is an intimate scene in the film. And that helped a ton too because their safety and everything was really prioritized. But yeah, it's really important to me that it feels as natural as possible. So.
Great, thank you. And then Anna, what drew you to Stonebirds?
I had worked with the director Maliki for like a few years on many different sets, and he's always talking about different stories that he's writing or thinking about or what he's in the process of making. And there was always this one that he just kept like he didn't have the names of the characters. He would just like say it really fast, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I would just go on and about my day and where we were going or working or whatever. And I eventually was randomly assigned in our P2 class to shoot his P2. And I remember I was like, it was the first time I ever read one of his scripts, and I was like, wait, the dialogue is just so fun. And I was like, it's just so much energy. And I'm like, it was really simple to shoot, but it was just so fun because the dialogue was just very intense and very fast. And I'd never shot a movie like that. And I eventually got to P3, and it was the first day of P3, and he finally, what he wanted to make for P3 was the script that he always kept like bringing up in conversation, but he'd never mentioned if I was attached to it yet. And the second we read it in class and everyone was giving their notes, I saw him after class and I was like, so like, who are you thinking of shooting your movie? And he was like, it's gonna be you, duh, like, duh. And I was like, okay. And it was one of the first times that I read a script like in class. It usually takes me a while for me to like imagine what it's going to look like, but I don't know if it's because he would just talk about it so much or like give me little bits and parts of it before I actually saw the script. It was the first time that I actually like saw it happening while we were like reading it in class, doing like a table read of it. And I was like, I just know it was gonna be so fun to shoot, and I was gonna love the visuals of it. And like, I was just so ready to start planning it and storyboarding, so that's why I wanted to be a part of it, yeah. And
Anna, how important is story to you? You mentioned that you kind of started off wanting to be a writer, and when you're discussing Stonebirds, you are talking a lot about like the script. So how important is it for you as a DP to connect with that story and like that story?
Yeah, I think with film, I think it's very important that your script just has a lot of subtext to it, because then it gives something for the actors to bring to it. It gives something for like the DP to bring to it of like, if we shot this, it's symbolic to this and all. Like, it just makes it more collaborative, and I think it also makes it more interesting to the audience to watch, because obviously for like short films you want like it to be as simple as possible, but it's like you still want it to be exciting. If yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I had like very visual heavy films, and I think that's why I liked Stonebirds too, is because of like just the simple like porch ornament like follows them around the whole movie, and it's something that's so simple, but it just feels like a short story that I would have read when I was like a lot younger. But yeah.
Great, thank you. So Adam, you mentioned that you are also a DP. What was it like to kind of give up that control to someone else and be a director this time?
Yeah, I mean, I welcomed the opportunity that Tri-C gave me that I could finally direct, because you're on film crews for years and years, and everybody looks at the director and says, I can do that better, and it's okay, tough stuff, put your money where your mouth is now. And to go into a film, and Amy Faust was my director of photography for that, and she's wonderfully talented, and I've known her for years. So having her come on was a no-brainer to shut that part of my brain off was, and it will be, if I get to direct movies for the remainder of time, I will always have to be trying to shut off the DP part of my brain. But also, as I'm a DP, when I'm working on jobs, I grew up through the grip department, because you can come up in an infinite amount of ways. So when I'm a DP, I'm trying to shut off the grip part of my brain. So however you were brought to the game is your strength, and also you have to respect everybody else. Sometimes I slip, and then my crew is comfortable enough that they'll tell me to go and stay in my lane and go to craft service and get a coffee. But I also, by growing up through that, I feel like it gave me a very strong visual sense. Whereas if I was as a director of photography and grew up through a technical side, if I worked at a rental house and was familiar, just worked very closely with the gear, I would come from it from that side. But coming up through lighting, that's my visual sense, and then that translates into what do I do when I'm directing a film.
Do you think there's value in, people doing different roles and not just sticking to
Absolutely.
one?
I teach semi-regularly different workshops, and I always tell the students, like, stick your face into as many departments as possible. And you hear that about producers and directors who have come up through the industry and are now big deals, that they dip their hand into a whole lot of different aspects of production. If anything, you can have empathy for, if you're a director now, but you know what the wardrobe department is going through and what hair and makeup is requiring, and things that you probably do not function with at that level, but at least you know what they need. It just makes you that much of a more creative and efficient filmmaker.
Great, thank you. Josie, so after you've accepted a role or have been offered one, what is your process?
Oh, what a wonderful question. It depends on the substance of the role. Recently, I got the wonderful opportunity to have a role that is a twin who had the experience of losing that other twin sometime in their life. And I have never experienced that. I don't have a twin. I haven't lost somebody that close to me. I'm very lucky in that sense. So going through the research, I actually dove deep on Reddit pages for people that have experienced that, just to try to get just a little aspect of what it means to be in their shoes, because like I've said 1,000 times, it's about telling their story, and I want to respect them and them as a person, and it's just super important to me to do everything that I can to do it to the best of my ability. I've obviously taken many classes here at Cleveland State as a theater acting major, and we learn everything from the magic if and everything. So there's little sprinkles from each of those classes that I implement in everything that I do when it comes to a whole feature-length script, a short script, or even a monologue. There's a whole series of things that I can do, and it really does depend on the substance of the material. But nothing is small. Even a monologue, there's a lot of work in that to be able to trust myself to do it correctly, if that even is a thing.
What do you like in a director during this time? How do you like, directors to work with you? What do you prefer?
Right. I spoke earlier about how I really value creativity. In theater directors, I feel like that's super important because, we all get together in one room and work on something for months, and it's the same with film. It could be years. So it's super important to me to have a community that is willing to collaborate in a way to bounce ideas off each other and always just support each other. So in a director, I love honesty. I really value honesty. I want to make sure that I'm doing the story justice and the character justice. So I will do the take 1,000 times if that's what I have to do to get what they want in the character, and I'm willing to do that. So the honesty and trust, because it also comes from that feeling in your stomach when you're like, oh, I don't think that was good. And then having trust in the director and they're like, it was it. That was good. We can move on. And so it's just building the trust, not just with the director, with everybody on set and everybody there. It is about the community, and that's so important, having that group of people that you know will support you and are willing to make good work.
Great. Thank you. Mariales, so I mentioned earlier that your film, to me, felt very much like a documentary. I see that through the camera work, I see that through the production design and the performances. What value do you see in telling authentic stories that may not be like super complex? What's the value in telling those types?
Sorry, something I forgot to mention is that our DP is actually a documentarian, and they mostly make docs or like commercial work. And I grew up with docs. That's kind of where I fell in love with film. My first film festival was at True Falls, so I was talking to you about it. It's like this documentary film festival up in Missouri. Is it up?
Down.
Down in Missouri. I think, where I began to love telling stories is in the mundanity of life. Actually, I think from like a perspective of like a person of color, immigrant, like all these boxes, whatever. Our lives are like complex every which way. Like I really don't think I need to be in the moon for my life to be complex. I don't think I need to be like a bug, which I really respect. I mean, that's just how my brain works. Like I don't need to leave the scope of what we're doing right now. I think that like I really love that challenge of like, how can we make this panel complex? Like if I was telling a movie about it, and I'll find ways. And I really, really love staying in, I guess, like the authenticity part of me. And I am always picking on things in my life like, oh, I had a fun night out. I can make a movie about that. But it can also be a challenge because I don't think my life is the core of everything. I just think the more specific I can get, the more global I can be. And it was really important for me. Like, I really love the way documentarians make films. And I love the way the camera language in documentary is as opposed to narrative filmmaking. So I really wanted to trust my DP. Like, we have this intimate scene where we only had like, I think 45 minutes to get. It was like an hour maybe max. And I was like, baby, we're gonna make this like a doc. I can't afford anything else. So knowing that my DP could do that, and just, I had to step out of the room and just see it from like a screen and trust that the instinct of a documentarian DP, like they have to feel it in their gut when the camera needs to change. And I really love that. And I love just like mixing the two and like making hybrid docs or making hybrid narratives. And I feel like I'm a bit genre agnostic or form agnostic. I just feel it's super funny to change it because I love pissing people off. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you want me to go deeper, but yeah.
That was perfect. Thank you. And then Anna, so how much control did you have over the image? And how did you make it your own? Like you put your own stamp on Stonebirds?
Me and the director would meet pretty frequently and just talk about what we wanted to do, because we knew that it was going to be pretty ambitious for anything we both had filmed before. Like, it was pretty much an all outside, mostly at night shoot. And I was just like, I've never filmed something like that before. And he wanted me to be pretty much on the shoulder rig the whole time. And he wanted me to be in the scene with the actors. And so I was very much like, I just need to see the overheads of everything. Like I need to see the blocking. I need to like know where they're gonna go so I can plan where I need to be. Cause I'd been on sets before where like, I thought I planned pretty well, and then there was just a lot of opinions, and then I was like, guys, that's gonna break the 180. Like I don't wanna do that right now. Like, come on. And then I don't know. We still shot it the way that I didn't want it. So I was like, okay, this is my time to like actually speak up and like, but in a way that like was respectful of everything that wanted to be done. And so we just made sure to always keep each other updated. And we also like, he told me all of his inspirations that he wanted it to look like. I told him like what I like in cinematography, and we kind of combined the two because he likes more like grittier type of shot movies. But I like, my favorite filmmaker of all time is Miyazaki. Like I like very beautiful and picturesque movies, and so I kind of had to blend the two of like our production design was very gritty, but then I tried to make it kind of like, I don't know, also like, I don't know, I just like the colors of the light. I just wanted it to be as natural as possible as well because they were outside the whole time. I didn't want anything to be too harsh or too out of nowhere. And like there's some shots that's very, very, very low light. And that's kind of some of the stuff that I like the most because it's literally just the outline of the characters.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask about the lighting in the film because I found a lot of meaning in it. I felt, what that film is doing is kind of subverting expectations of, how we use light, and it seems that this violence is kind of chasing the light. This like very violent scene happens in a highly lit room, that's that kind of goes against what we usually expect. So I kind of wanted to ask about your thoughts with lighting the film and how important lighting is to you as a DP.
Lighting, I think for me, I'm trying to get better at like understanding the technology behind it, because as I'm getting onto more complex sets with more equipment, I'm like, oh, I've never really had to touch a C-stand before or like work with like these big lights or like hot lights and stuff like that. Because most of the time if I would shoot movies at home, it's like I would just turn the lamp on and move the lamp where I wanted it to go. Like I didn't really think about it that much. And I just always want my actors to be like beautifully lit. Like even if it's like a very intense scene, I want them to be, I don't know, I just love eye light. I love being able to just, because that's like the way into people's soul. So it's like if you don't have the eye light, I feel like the audience isn't going to feel the emotion or whatever. And so for the last scene where it's in like the bathroom, it is just part of like we weren't able to turn the lights off in the bathroom. But I was like thinking about it. I was like, I think it almost feels very out of nowhere anyway. Like it's very unexpected what's going to happen to Peyton, and it almost like reminded me of like a hospital. Like it's just very like, it's very intense out of nowhere, and I really wanted to see the red of the blood, and I felt like sometimes if you light blood too low light, you can't see the red of it, and I just wanted it to like, I don't know. That was my thought, because I was like, we are shooting this really low light, so I wanted that one scene to be,
Thank you.
very high light,
Yeah. So Adam, your film is a period piece, 1960s.
Yes.
What was it like working with a production designer in getting that specific time period right?
A lot of it, I came at, I did an outline treatment, and then I did a first pass on the script, and then go, okay, does any of these types of places exist? Talked with the Cleveland Film Commission, which you don't have to be Superman for them to provide assets. Like, I'm looking for this type of building with this foyer, and Mike went and the Film Commission gave me a whole bunch of pictures, and I was like, that one. And then we went and scouted that building, which was the AT&T building, and I rewrote part of the script based on, you know, where opening of the film is, where the finale of the film is. Like, the finale is not going to be in a hallway because they all look awful. Let's have it in this grandiose, old school Cleveland foyer, so it actually looks like something. So in getting within the production design of that, and then it helped in the world building and to also limit where you were going to shoot. So we're not going to give up the ghost that it's 2024 when we were shooting that. So to work within the confines of what Cleveland could provide, and then what wardrobe and hair and makeup could provide. And when everybody comes into our lobby scenes that we have in the film, it's 1964, and it holds on pretty tight to that, which was a testament to those departments being able to do that. And then for the talent to lean into that, and for Amy, our DP, to sort of recognize that it was a rich environment to eat, and to really make people look nice, and to play up the glamour of what that was. So in doing lots of resource and lookbooks, like let's do, you know, Mad Men and not Mrs. Maisel, based on what things were looking like. And she was able to harness that into, I think it's a great looking film.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Not to tout my own.
Thank you. Josie, so as an actor, you know, walking on to set or, you know, theater, how important is production design for you in crafting your performance and your character?
That's where film and theater are so different, because theater is so gritty. I mean, you walk into a room that's literally a black box with just like 2 chairs and a desk, and you're like, okay, this is the office where a loved one is gonna tell you that they're moving away, you know, and the room is blank, and you have to use your imagination to make this room somewhere else and make the fourth wall drop. Like, what is really on that wall? It's not an audience full of people, it's actually like a picture frame and a TV and such. But with film, you walk into a living room, you know, and an actual living room with couches that people have lived at, and a kitchen with actual food on the counter, and you're so immediately immersed in like a true living place, and it just makes the outlet of acting, I don't know if I want to say easier, but you know, you can really hone in on other aspects without having to hone in on like having that sense of your imagination just so turned on about where you are and like building the world, because the world is built around you. And I think I value the set dressers so much when I walk into a set and there's like actual pictures of me in the picture frames as a kid, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it really makes everything feel so real and feel so connected, and dropping into the character and the given circumstances ends up just feeling so natural, because it's easy to connect memories with memories, and a bed with a bed, not like two blocks. But I love both theater and film so much for both of those aspects, because there's something so exhilarating about having an empty room with 2 chairs and creating a palace, you know?
Yeah, thank you. Mariales, so you have an intimate scene in your film, and I'm very interested, how did you get your cast to trust yourself and trust the larger crew during that scene?
But we had an intimacy coordinator, and that set was actually closed. And and when we have a close set and we have intimacy coordinator, certain things are promised. Like, no one's gonna see this footage outside of like me, the producers, and the editor, and the intimacy coordinator. We like talked a lot with the actors and the intimacy coordinator about creating shapes of how they're going to fake this intimacy that they had. And just talking them through, like, I mean, at the end of the day, they were playing teenagers. So like the way as an adult you would have intimacy is not how you would as a child. And preserving that as well was really, really important, because I think the preservation of children and everything we do, we should really take that more seriously. Because so we just had a lot of conversations about what that's gonna look like, and like, well, a child wouldn't move their hand like that because they're just learning how to do this. So, or like a teenager, a young adult. So yeah, it was like a lot of conversations with the intimacy coordinator about their own safety, especially because one of our actors is trans and the other one is a cis woman, and they were like revealing their transness in this scene as well to their best friend, like canonically. So talking about what that would feel like too, if that's bringing up anything for them and their identity. And our intimacy coordinator is also trans, so that was really cool. And choosing like a band that is good for their skin tone. That was also really important because we also had to cover up both actors, so we wanted to just make sure everything was matching their skin tone. So I think they felt very taken care of, and the DP is a queer person, non-binary person, so I just felt like we were really intentional in making sure at least our head of our departments understood what we were doing, and that they felt like you don't have to explain yourself or why you wouldn't feel unsafe, because we were kind of just on the same timing. So that was really cool. And as I said, like, I mean, we shot it in this way where there was really no shot list because we were running out of time, which was really difficult as a director because it's the most important part of my film, I felt. And it was really hard to not insert myself in it and disrupt all the work we had just done to create such safety. But just trusting that they knew what they were doing, and then our DP knew what they were doing. And also a lot of it was in the edit as well. I mean, the way we edited it, did we choose, I mean, there was a scene that could have been more graphic or more really sexual, but we were kind of like in the edit, like, no, let's not do that. So sort of preserve them as well. So it was interesting to see like what we worked on in production, and then the work that me and my editor then have to do with what we shot was also like, it's a two-parter to creating that. So.
Great, thank you. Couple more questions, and then we'll jump to a Q&A. But sticking with Mariales, your film ends on a hopeful note, and I think as we keep going in life in this industry, I feel like hopeful endings are becoming a little more rare. Yeah. So what is the value in having a good message, a positive message?
Oh, I really like that question, thank you. It's so funny because actually, well, one, I think good things happen even in the worst of times. And I know that personally, I mean, my life would be falling apart as a child, and I kissed a girl, and that was the best part of my day, and my parents were in like living actual hell. And I think the duality of human being, especially I think for people of color, like as we're experiencing like the most systemic of violence, we're also celebrating birthdays. So it would be crazy to like act as if that's not a reality. So that was also my thing where I'm like, I was laughing and we were joking around even as bad things were happening. I mean, so that's why I put that in there. It's super interesting because it is hopeful for their relationship, but my main character's parents are like having like the most intense argument upstairs. So it's also like, this is the reality of their life. They're like experiencing some sort of family verbal abuse of some kind. And also the person that they like is like, I'm down to see you tomorrow. And that was part of our title too, like, today is today and tomorrow happened. But I think it's really important. I'm having this moment right now, which is really special for me. And like, there are people experiencing really horrible atrocities. And that's just kind of the reality of where we're at. So yeah, that's why I felt good. I also feel like, because this is for young queer people, I just want them to feel like, life is shit sometimes. And I have my family didn't abandon me when I came out, all kinds of things, but some people do. And I just wanted them to feel like this moment is hard, what you're experiencing is hard, and it will get better. There is always something better. There's always a better day. And I just wanted them to have that, as like the world's telling them that they're whatever. So yeah, I don't know. If it like touches one person, I did my job. And that's why it was important to me to do that. And which is something we argued a lot about. Like my producers, my DP is like, would that really happen? And I'm like, I don't care. It did happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good, thank you. And then my next question is Adam. So your film is kind of about how we are who we are because of what inspires us. With your point of view, why is it important for everyone, young, old, to be inspired by what we see, what we hear, everything?
I mean, somebody asked me that about why we should care about Artemis going to the moon right now. Like, when doesn't that seem like a waste of money for civilization? Like, I find it inspiring that civilization can do that, and that's for myself personally. To not be inspired is just merely to exist. To be inspired by whether it's something like Artemis or by watching the X-Files, there's a hard and fast listing of stats of how many people got into STEM and became scientists and engineers because they were inspired by that version of art or because they watched Star Trek. However somebody is able to latch onto something and get inspiration for that is everything. And yeah, when it comes to people interested in film or working in film, just more is more. Watch. You don't have to like everything, but something you can latch onto can inspire you, maybe not to do it that way, but then also you can find like, I really want to do it that way. It might not be today or tomorrow, it might be in 20 years, but I remember that and that'll keep me going, and I'm going to go down that road.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to open it up to audience Q&A. If anyone has a question, I will ask you to come up and ask your question with the microphone
Don't be shy.
present. Yes.
So tall. Hi, everyone. My name is Vera Howard. I'm currently here at Cleveland State University, track of writing and directing. So I have a friend who is a director, and I know you all mentioned when it comes to having human decency and caring about your cast and crew over the project, they may have felt as if they may have crossed the line when it came to their crew on set and possibly made their crew a bit unhappy. What advice would you give to that director to kind of make it up so that way you all can come back as cast and crew and be able to continue the project?
Good question.
Thanks.
You mean like repairing that relationship?
Yeah.
Case of beer for starters.
Noted.
I mean, the proof's in the pudding. You can apologize and talk to them and say, this is how we're going to move forward, and I hear all of you, and then It's just like any relationship, to see if the nice and fluffy words are actually going to translate into a respectful environment. Make no mistake, the hardest job on an entire set is being the director. You are asked an important question every 20 seconds for 12 hours. And that can generate some stress sometimes, but the director needs to understand everybody is there for their vision. And it has to be a respect that goes both directions. So good words to help repair, but then they have to walk the walk, I think.
I think it's about respect and communication, really, and the willingness and the pride you have in the project. If it's something that you all are really, really passionate about, it would be worth it to have those conversations and the hard conversations. And sometimes those hard conversations have to happen for good art to happen.
Yeah, I think that's good. I agree with them. And also, I think it's important to name what has happened. I don't know what has happened, but let's say we went 14 hours and we were supposed to finish in 10 hours. I think there the line is crossed. It's like, you don't care about our time and whatever, you know. I think it's really important to name it. This happened. And hear everyone out, and also make a plan for how it won't happen. You know, if that's like adding a day, or if that's cutting some scenes, or if that's whatever it is you need to do. I think it's important to make a plan so the words can translate into action. And sorry. And then also redirect everyone to like, we're here for this project. Are you still committed to this project, even if this has happened? And kind of getting a temp check on, do we still all want to finish this? And probably the answer is going to be yes, and just make sure that that's our goal here. But I think action is really what makes people feel safer. So that's my suggestion.
I think everyone makes like little or big sacrifices to make a film and show up. And I think if a director breaks the trust of their crew or cast, like, it is gonna be hard to build that up again. But I think if they are just accountable and then change their ways, like slowly, people will want to start to work with them again. So yeah.
Thank you.
Send it
Yep.
over to us, we'll give them a start talking.
Any other questions?
You all talked about finding like community with the people that you're filming with. Is that something that has to be built up before you start shooting, or can that be found on set as well?
In my experience with theater, often you know everybody and you come in as a community, but in my experience with film, I have walked on set and have only known one person there and don't know anybody else, but you have to do work. So it's just about, all circles back to communication again, and just getting out of your comfort zone, and even though you might feel weird, just like awkwardly walking up to a group of people that all know each other and all friends and probably drove there together, just awkwardly walking up and being like, hey, my name's Josie, and get out of your comfort zone, because you won't always be surrounded by friends, so you have to make them your friends.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture, because I've been on sets where it's like I know a lot of people or I don't know a lot of people, and I've definitely made friends from working on sets, or we just so happen to be on, just continually like get crewed onto the same sets. And I was lucky to meet a lot of people through classes and stuff, but a lot of time it's like I go onto a set, I'm an AC or a grip or whatever, and because I have kind of been an apprentice to a lot of people, I'm allowed to then ask them to come back and help me shoot my films. And And it's like, I know you do good work because I like the way that you shoot your movies. So it's like, you'll look out for me and like all this stuff. So yeah, I just feel lucky to be at a spot where it's like, I trust everyone that I'm working with, like actors or crew or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a mixture.
Yeah, I think it's like also different roles. You should have a sort of connection before, like with you and your producer. You should definitely like you should be locked in before. But also film is like, sometimes it's your film and sometimes you're just working professionally. You've just been hired, you have to pay the bills, whatever. And you meet some of the most talented people, like you're saying, like you really like the grip on this whatever thing you were at, and you really want to get to know them and maybe have them on for another project that you're working on. And then you start to build a sort of Rolodex of people that you trust and that you like their work. And then if you're working with someone where you need to connect creatively, then I feel like you build that slowly. Like you've seen a film and you like the way that film looks and you need a producer, you message that producer and you say, hey, I really want a producer, can you come out and have some lunch with me and see if you vibe, like if you're, if you connect, if they get your vision, and if you would trust them to figure out all the logistics of your film. And then little by little, they'll say no, and then they'll be like, but I know someone else that can do it. But it is really all trial and error, and it really is like trying to see if people are good people always. But which can happen on set, and then it can happen offset. It can happen offset as well.
Anyone else? All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here, and especially the panelists today. It was great to have you guys here and talk a little bit about the craft of filmmaking. So thank you.
Thank you.